Yo, what's going on, guys? It is time for another reaction video, and today I'm going to be reacting to the history of Peru explained in 10 minutes. Let's get straight into it.
The South American nation of Peru has a population of 33 million people. This extremely mountainous country is bordered by the nations of Ecuador and Colombia to the north. To the east, it is bounded by the massive Portuguese-speaking Republic of Brazil and landlocked Bolivia. Chile bestrides the remainder of South America's western coast, stretching down towards Antarctica. Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana inhabit the remainder of the South American continent. Although the short-lived Inca Empire is the most well-known pre-Columbian state, numerous kingdoms, empires, and city-states inhabited the land stretching far back into the region's prehistory, which provided a strong cultural socio-political foundation for the later Inca. Peru is home to the oldest known city in the Americas, Huarichanga, dated to around 3500 BC. This city was part of the Norte Chico civilization, which was centered around a little over a dozen towns and cities. From around 3200 BC onwards, these settlements were characterized by large communal building projects, including temples, plazas, and stepped pyramids. Their pyramids were built during the same time period as ancient Egypt's pyramids, although on a much smaller scale, and 2,000 years before the earliest pyramids of Mesoamerica were constructed far to the north. The Norte Chico civilization is highly unusual in history in that they built cities, monumental structures, and irrigation systems, while never creating ceramics. One theory for the demise of their civilization is that their advances in irrigation technology made their ancestral homeland less desirable, compared to relatively nearby alternative sites. As their cities declined and were eventually abandoned, numerous smaller, well-irrigated settlements over a much larger geographical area spread to the north and south. During the succeeding Kotosh period, pottery was first developed. The disparate settlements of this period grew into larger cities and coalesced into the Chavín culture. Throughout the Chavín period, advances were made in metalworking and farming technology. The effective cultivation of potatoes, quinoa, and maize aided the region's rapid population growth. As increasingly complex urban societies developed, the culture became less egalitarian, with a powerful class of priests and hereditary nobility hoarding wealth at the top. The centuries of peaceful growth and coexistence of the Chavín period gave way to a more culturally regionalized and warlike age. Three rival power centers.
Seeing this map up close, I didn't realize there were so many different rivers and ravines, and I don't know, it's hard to get an idea from scale of this, what the size of all of them are, but the way they just kind of spread all out, and it doesn't look like visually there's a lot of like more large scale lakes like we have here in North America, but more so just a series of these little rivers.
Emerged at Lima, Moche, and Nazca. The Nazca are renowned for the many very large geoglyphs carved into the desert soil they left behind, depicting animals and geometric patterns. Around 400 AD, the city-state of Huari was founded. Huari welcomed migrants from all of the region's cultures and synthesized their spiritual beliefs into a new popular religion. In approximately a century and a half, as the city rapidly grew, Huari came to dominate all of the city-states of the Peruvian coast. Perhaps in response to this threat, the city of Tiwanaku, situated near the shores of Lake Titicaca and was now Bolivia, united the previously disunited city-states of the Highland Lakes under its leadership. Although it appears the two empires had a tense relationship, it is generally believed that they never engaged in large-scale invasion of the other, as each side had a considerable defensive advantage. Mysteriously, both empires rapidly fell around the year 1000, and both of their capital cities were abandoned within a few decades of each other. Famine, natural disasters, civil uprisings, plague, and war have all been speculated to have been the cause for this collapse. Perhaps both empires finally fought a war, which destroyed both empires' prestige and internal authority, ensuring mutual destruction. In any case, after both capital cities were abandoned, many previously minor cities rose to prominence. Tiwanaku was succeeded by a loose confederation of prosperous kingdoms, while the Kingdom of Timor asserted its authority over much of the Peruvian coast as the Huari Empire disintegrated. Around the year 1200, the small city-state of Cusco was founded by the previously unimportant Inca people. For more than 2 centuries, the kingdom of Cusco expanded its territory very little, while the city prospered and its population grew. Cusco periodically raided its neighbors, and in return, the city was under frequent attack from the neighboring Chanca and Huanca peoples. In 1438, the Chanca invaded Cusco with overwhelming force. The Inca king Viracocha fled the city while his son Panchacuti defended it and defeated the enemy. Viracocha then abdicated the throne to his son Panchacuti, the 9th Sapa Inca. He embarked on several campaigns of conquest, transforming the kingdom into an empire. His successors Tupac and Huayna Capac enjoyed long reigns and
This is the first time I've ever seen the name Tupac used other than the rapper Tupac. And now it makes me wonder the origins of his name and how his mother and father chose to give him the name of Tupac. If anybody knows if there's anything that's connected in any way, shape, or form to the Inca and Tupac's name, let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to know if there is any kind of connection or if it was just, it's pure coincidence. But I've never seen the name Tupac any other time throughout my life until now.
greatly expanded the empire. The empire was at its height and was likely inhabited by over 10 million people and growing. Massive building programs had been completed, like Machu Picchu and an empire-wide system of roads.
Also, has anybody watching ever been to
Programs had been completed, like Machu Picchu.
to Machu Picchu? It's somewhere that's been on my list for a long time to visit, and I've heard mixed feelings from people that it's really cool to see, but it's, maybe there's other things that are more interesting to do, and then some people who think it's amazing and it's worth the time to visit. So if you've ever been there, let me know your thoughts on it. Is it worth taking a visit to, or is it something I should pass on and do something else? And let me know why.
And an empire-wide system of roads. The empire seemed to be on the brink of a golden age, when a strange disease swept through the land. The speed of its transmission was likely aided by the Inca's efficient road system. 3 years earlier, the Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés had completed the conquest of the Aztec Empire. He not only brought guns, horses, and steel with his army. Unintentionally, he also brought with him a more effective weapon, a host of diseases that had never been encountered in the New World.
As I'm beginning to do more and more of these reactions of other countries and other continents, it seems to be a pretty common theme that as these people were coming over from Europe and a lot of other countries, that they brought disease. And the diseases are what killed off a lot of the native and indigenous people of all sorts of countries. It looks like that's kind of what happened in a lot of New Zealand and Australia, and all throughout South America. I just recently did a reaction to Brazil, and it seems to be that was the same thing that happened in Brazil. So it's kind of it's sad that simply exploring and reaching new continents, that so many lives were lost simply to diseases. Now, given the fact that there was also a lot of slavery and a lot of wars and a lot of greed to take land from the indigenous people, it's likely that there still probably would have been a lot of death either way. But regardless, it doesn't justify it, right? So I wasn't saying it in that manner, but point being is whether they came there to fight and kill people or not, lots of lives were lost because they came there through disease or war.
Smallpox, measles, typhus, influenza, and diphtheria all ravaged the Inca Empire in repeating waves. The Sapa Inca, Huayna Capac and his heir, both died from the plague. His sons, Huáscar and Atahualpa, proceeded to fight a brutal 3-year-long civil war. Atahualpa was victorious, but over 100,000 of the empire's best troops perished in the fighting. Then, Francisco Pizarro González, the second cousin of Hernán Cortés, invaded with a small expeditionary band. Pizarro captured Atahualpa during a negotiation and then tens of thousands of the Inca's malcontented vassals rallied to the Spaniards' cause, particularly the Inca's traditional enemies, the Huanca and the Chanca. After a massive ransom of gold and silver was paid for Atahualpa's release, Pizarro had him executed. In 1537, Cusco was taken after a 10-month siege. It took 35 more years, 40 in total, to complete the conquest of the Inca Empire. Wow. It is estimated that as much as 95% of the Inca Empire's population died within 50 years of the height of its power, although many were slain by
95% of their population. That's insane.
War and its horrible side effects. Most died from disease. In 1542, the Viceroyalty of Peru had been established, with a capital on the coast at Lima. Under the Spanish Empire, the Viceroyalty of Peru expanded to cover most of the South American continent, before being broken up into smaller viceroyalties. Throughout the Spanish Empire, Peru played a vital role in its finances, particularly one mountain, Potosi. For over a century, more than 60% of the silver mined in the world came from Cerro Potosi, sitting at over 15,000 feet above sea level. Potosi, a city of the same name, became one of the most wealthy and populous cities in the world. It was one of the fastest growing cities in history after silver was discovered there, growing from a few hundred to over 200,000 people in the span of a few decades.
Wow.
Later, as silver production slowed, the city declined. During the 18th century, two major rebellions occurred where the indigenous Quechua and Aymara people fought to establish independent territory. Both were brutally put down. In 1826, Peru gained its independence from Spain after a 15-year war, which was part of the larger Spanish-American Wars of Independence. Peru and Bolivia joined together to form a short-lived state, which was dissolved after an unsuccessful war with Chile. In all, Peru fought 9 wars alongside and against its neighbors throughout the 19th century. Most were minor border clashes, with the exception of the War of the Pacific, where 35,000 casualties were suffered on both sides. Bolivia lost its access to the sea. During the 20th century, Peru had more border clashes with its neighbors, and the Peruvian Republic was largely governed by military junta. Like many other countries, Peru was also the stage for Cold War proxy conflict. Fortunately, over the past few decades, conflict has subsided, while the economy and average standard of living has drastically improved. Stability within the country has also meant that archaeology has flourished within Peru. Until relatively recently, very little was known about the pre-Inca civilizations of Peru, like the Moche. In the fascinating documentary, Lord of Sipan, available on this video sponsor, CuriosityStream, the Moche civilization is brought to life by reenactors and beautiful-looking CGI reconstructions. The Lord of Sipan has been called the King Tut of the Americas, as his tomb has shed light on a little-known age. You can watch The Lord of Sipan on CuriosityStream, a curated streaming service hosting thousands of documentaries and nonfiction titles, covering a wide variety of topics. It is only $2.99 a month, far less than comparable streaming services. The annual plan is a crazy good bargain, at only $20 for a whole year, so go to curiositystream.com/epi. And for my viewers, use the promo code EPI during sign-up to get 30 days membership for free. It is crazy to think that Moche civilization lay buried, forgotten, and unknown until the 20th century, and what other civilizations could be buried out there. This has been Epimetheus. Thanks so much to my patrons for supporting this channel, and all of you who watch, like, comment, and share.
If you guys like that, go check out his channel. It's Epimetheus. It looks like he's got a lot of other videos similar to this one. It was a really comprehensive video. Some of the information was new to me. Some of it I was a little bit more familiar with. And looking forward to reacting to more content from Peru. So if you guys got some suggestions on videos I should check out about Peru, whether it's history, food, culture, music, whatever, I want to check it out. So share your thoughts in the comments. If you got links to some videos, please provide links. It's very helpful. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and click that bell so you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.